Namaste and hello. I'd like to welcome you to the CRRAO Gallery, and it's housed in the CRRAO Advanced Institute of Mathematics, Statistics and Computer Science. The gallery and the institute aim to really promote basic research, support it, and hope that the younger generation will pursue a career in higher education and research. There are different parts to the gallery, and the gallery begins with the career path of my father, Professor C.R.RAO, who really has spent his life in research. So the first part of the gallery traces his early days. When he first joined the Indian Statistical Institute, where he spent many, many years, first as a student, as a young teacher, and then as the Director of Research and Training and the Director of the Institute, till he retired at the age of 60. Professor Mahalanobis was the head of the Indian Statistical Institute, and he had a great influence and was a great supporter and promoted my father and nurtured him in his career. Professor Rao, of course, had the influence of many, many great scientists, statisticians, and mathematicians. He went to Cambridge, where he got his doctoral degree. He actually went there to work at the Museum of Archaeology because they had some skeletal material which they wanted to age, and he knew the methodology to do it. So while he was working at the gallery, he worked with Professor R.A. Fisher in his genetics lab, and the outcome was his PhD thesis. He came back from Cambridge to ISI, started a master's program, a doctoral program, and advised numerous PhD students who went on to do very significant work in statistics and mathematics. So the gallery has some of his significant breakthrough papers, which I guess have had quite an influence on biological and mathematical sciences. He moved to the United States after he retired from India at the age of 60 and continued his research activities at the University of Pittsburgh and the Pennsylvania State University. At the moment, he's at the University at Buffalo, and he is the research professor there. And he continues to be active doing research and supporting other people's research activities. This is one of my favorite photographs with Professor Mahalanobis, Rani Mahalanobis, my father and my mother. This was taken when the announcement of his being made a fellow of the Royal Society was made. The walls here show some of his significant medals, the Indian Science Award, the National Medal of Science from the United States, the Guy Medal in Gold from the Royal Statistical Society of the United Kingdom, his significant awards. One of the first awards he got was the Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Award in 1963. And at that time, there was a war going on, so my father donated the money towards the war efforts. And there are some pictures of the awards, including the Padma Vibhushan. These are some of the medals, a display of the significant medals. The wall here has photographs from the various honorary doctorates that he has received. To date, he has 37 honorary doctorates from 19 countries over 6 continents. These are all his significant books that are on display here, and some websites that talk about him. And finally, the wall that's really the wall after his heart, which is the family wall. There are photographs of his parents, his brothers, my mother, his wife, Gachibowli, who's played a tremendous part in his life. She's been a great support, and really the woman behind him. And his children, and his favorite grandchildren. So I do hope that students get a chance to see the gallery and they're inspired by it to really pursue education and research, because that is what is really important for national development. It's really what is important to place India on the map of research and the map of the developed country. Thank you.
गणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं मालकोटिप्रकाशं शान्तं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं मूषकवाहनमोदकप्रियं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं मूषकवाहनमोदकप्रियं महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि वसिष्ठवामदेवादिवन्दितमहागणपतिम्.
Which happened to fall on National Mathematics Day, the birthday of Dr. Ramanujan, who is so dear to Dr. C.R.RAO. I present to you Dr. V.K. Saraswat, listen to the function. He is the ex-Director General, Defense Research Development Organization and Scientific Advisor to Rakshan Mantri. He was awarded Padma Bhushan, the third highest civilian award in the Republic of India. He nurtured and built C.R.RAO Advanced Institute in his capacity as president of both governing body and general body. I introduced Mrs. Gachibowli, a psychologist by training, the lady behind the success of the legendary Ramanujan, popularly known as C.R.RAO, founder of this institute, recipient of Padma Bhushan, the second highest civilian award in the Republic of India after Bharat Ratna, which we are expecting soon with all your blessings. He conquered the hearts and minds of innumerable scientists in and around the world through his countless awards and humble behavior. Statistics and C.R.RAO are synonymous. I present to you Dr. Tirunacharya Ramaswamy, Secretary of DST, a distinguished researcher and another technologist. He was awarded India's National Senior Honor for Padma Shri in 2001. He received Sanchar Bhatnagar Award for notable and outstanding research in chemical sciences. He gave us the first ever project. My friend Yugandhar calls it, he gave the first rupee to this institute to establish a Center for Mathematical Sciences. I take this opportunity to present before you Professor Ramakrishna Ramaswamy, the present Vice Chancellor of the University of Hyderabad. He is a researcher par excellence in computational biology and bioinformatics. He worked at AFR, JNU Delhi, and Caltech, and he holds a degree in chemistry from Princeton University. He is winner of several awards. Now it is my turn to introduce the chief guest of the day, Dr. P. Ramakrishnan, who shared the 2009 Nobel Prize in Chemistry with Thomas A. Stage and Ada E. Yamath. He currently works at the MRC Laboratory of Molecular Biology in Cambridge, England. Ramakrishnan was born in Chidambaram in Kadaluru district of Tamil Nadu to C.V. Ramakrishnan and Rajalakshmi. Both of his parents are scientists. Graduated with a BSc degree in physics in 1971 before moving to ESA. Later, he obtained his PhD degree in physics from Ohio University in 1976. He then spent 2 years studying biology as a graduate student at the University of California, San Diego, while making a transition from theoretical physics to biology. I think he is close to Ramakrishna Ramaswamy. He also migrated from physics to biology. He was a postdoctoral fellow with Peter Moore at Yale University. He worked on ribosomes from 1983 to 1995 as a staff scientist at Brookhaven National Laboratory. In 1995, he moved to the University of Utah as a professor of biochemistry, and in 1999, he moved to his current position at the Medical Research Council Laboratory of Molecular Biology in Cambridge, England, where he had also been a sabbatical visitor during 1992. I warmly welcome several of our past time. I'm skipping the names. Particularly, I thank Dr. Tejaswini Rao, who has designed and executed C.R.RAO's gallery. Thank you very much. Dr. M.R. Rao, Dr. Redana, Prasad Ragaru, particularly CCMB Director Mohan Ragaru. Actually, we wanted to listen to him, perhaps, to get an opportunity. Dr. Vijay Sagar, our chair professors, Professor Prakash Rao, Professor Pine, and the first director, Dr. S.P.Rao. Good morning to everybody. Thank you for visiting this institute. Thank you.
Dr. B. Ramakrishnan, the chief guest of this function, Prof.CRRAO, and other dignitaries on the dais, esteemed invitees. I see very young children today, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great occasion today that we have among us India's youngest Nobel laureate, Dr. V. Ramakrishnan, who has really brought laurels to this country by way of his outstanding work. And his presence in CRRAO Institute certainly brings a lot of glory to the institute and also makes us do what we need to do as an institution. This institution has been founded by Professor C.R.RAO. It is his vision, it is his ambition, and it is his mandate to bring advanced mathematics, statistics, and other disciplines of computer science and related subjects to a state where we can compare internationally. In fact, when he asked me to be member of this particular society, which was formed about 7-8 years back, it was with this vision, and that's how I thought I should join this particular aspiration so that we can really contribute to this particular aspect. Over the last 7-8 years, this institute has grown, and today we have one of the finest buildings and some of the best facilities for carrying out research in advanced mathematics, statistics, computer science, now genomics, and the major focus in this area we are giving today with the help of Department of Science and Technology and also NTRO and DRDO is in the area of advanced mathematics, cyber security, biodefense, and information security. Of late, there has been tremendous impetus in also going for biology and theoretical biology and genomics. These are some of the new areas which have been encompassed. Another focus which as a country we are giving today is on the cyber security. Dr. Chidambaram, yesterday I was talking to him and I was looking for a roadmap from him as to how we can promote cyber security and CRRAO Institute as the basic institution, as a nodal agency. And he was very hopeful that CRRAO Institute will play a major role in making cyber security as the main. So I urge upon all of my friends present here that cyber security and biodefense, where the subjects of mathematics, statistics, computer science play a major role, they need to be pursued by all concerned. I hope that the presence of Professor C.R.RAO now for a couple of months in this campus will certainly again rejuvenate the spirit of all of you in carrying out research in these vital areas, and certainly the good words and the profile of Dr. V. Ramakrishnan will certainly help us to emulate many of the great things which these two great scientists have done for our country, and also take from here to a level where Advanced Institute of Mathematics and Statistics and Computer Science should be. There are collaborative efforts, and particularly because this institute happens to be in the campus of Central University, Hyderabad, there is a collaboration in all departments, and this collaboration effort will lead to a better understanding of these subjects. Similarly, we are now working today with many other institutions like DRDO, SNT, and the NTRO, and now with many institutions like the Institute of Mathematics in Chennai and TIFR. I'm sure these linkages will certainly strengthen this institution. I urge all the people, all the scientists who can contribute in this area to become part of this global venture, and wish you all the very best, and once again welcome all of you for this grand function. Thank you.
Kindly visited the Institute of Mathematics, Statistics and Computer Science, accepting our invitation in inaugurating the CRRAO Gallery. The main aim of the gallery, as designed by my daughter, Gachibowli, Professor of Nutrition at Sodi College, Lucknow, is to inspire the young students to pursue the path of research to open new doors to knowledge and improve the status of India as a producer of knowledge. Dr. Ramanujan, the association of your name with the gallery will be a great source of inspiration to the younger generation. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an apology to make. Before my departure from Buffalo, I went to see my doctor, a cardiologist, to tell him that I was going to Hyderabad to attend an important function and give a speech. My doctor said, if you are giving a speech from the bottom of your heart, not from the head, you may experience some difficulty. He advised me to prepare a speech and ask someone to read. Following his advice, I prepared my speech, which will be read by my doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, you will be listening to my words with the sweet voice of my daughter.
Real pleasure to be reading my father's speech. I think I do understand the content of the speech because I certainly don't understand his work. It gives me great pleasure in greeting you on this Lead Letter Day for the Institute, celebrating two memorable events. Today is the 126th birth anniversary of the celebrated mathematician Ramanujan. The Institute is celebrating his birthday by organizing seminars and workshops. Ramanujan flashed like a meteor through a span of 32 years, making remarkable contributions to mathematics before he was struck down by a strange disease. He left behind him a rare legacy of about 4,000 formulae or theorems, most of them without any proof of their validity. Assuming that the bulk of his work was done over a period of 10 to 12 years, he was discovering at least one theorem per day. What is amazing is the deathbed puzzle. Ramanujan, from his deathbed during the last days of his life, conveyed to Professor Hardy in Cambridge a formula mentioning that it was revealed to him by goddess Namagirini. It remained unsolved for 90 years until last year, Ken Ono, an American mathematician, found that Ramanujan's formula was true and that it may unlock the secrets about the black hole. What an amazing formula. The second happy event we are celebrating is the visit of Dr. V. Ramakrishnan from the MRC Laboratory of Molecular Biology in Cambridge. Dr. Ramakrishnan has a department within the laboratory where he says that he works as a laboratory scientist with a number of research workers on the structure and function of ribosomes. He has set an example of humility and research. A great devotion to research. The MRC lab in Cambridge is well known as the factory for producing Nobel laureates. Dr. Ramakrishnan is the 13th Nobel laureate from this factory. The number 13 has therefore received some sanctity through Dr. Ramakrishnan, and it loses its identity as being an unlucky number. I want to thank Dr. Ramakrishnan for kindly accepting my request to visit the Institute and inaugurate the CRRAO gallery. The association of your name, Dr. Ramakrishnan, will be a source of inspiration to the younger generations to pursue a path of research to unravel the mysteries of the universe. I would like to say a few words about the gallery. Everything has a history, as J.B.S. Haldane outlines in his book on scientific inventions. The economic development of a country depends on research and innovation. Research for developing new knowledge and innovation in utilizing the available knowledge for developing new products. Unfortunately, the rank of India in basic research publication is 9, whereas the US and China occupy the first 2 positions. The Global Innovation Index of India is 66, and of China, 35 among the nations of the world. India has made remarkable fundamental contributions for the advancement of knowledge in the past. But in the course of time, we lost the tradition, perhaps due to some religious, cultural, or psychological reasons. We did not catch up with the Enlightenment that came about in the 18th century in Europe, which stopped accepting truths from religious revelations and wanted instead explanations by the newly emerging laws of natural and biological sciences. The Institute and Gallery strive to inspire the younger generation into a path of higher education and basic research to place India on the world map of developed countries. Now the next part is slightly embarrassing to read, but with due respect. The gallery is the brainchild of my daughter, Tejaswini. On one of her visits to Delhi, she visited BrahMos to see the Abdul Kalam Gallery. Dr. Pillai, distinguished scientist and chief controller of all the activities at BrahMos, kindly gave her a tour. Inspired by the Kalam Gallery, my daughter negotiated with Dr. S.P. Rao, who was then the director of the institute, for some space to set up the CRRAO Gallery. Dr. S.P. Rao kindly assigned one room for the gallery. Thank you, Dr. Rao, for your decision, and thank you, Dr. Pillai, for initiating this idea. My daughter designed the gallery with the sole purpose of inspiring young students to pursue research. The corridor to the gallery has portraits of Nobel laureates of Indian origin, scientists who made path-breaking contributions to science in the last century, and all this to remind the younger generation that they too can make their lives sublime and leave behind them footprints in the sands of time. I would like to thank my daughter for what she has done to realize my ambition. Incidentally, another interesting feature of the gallery that it has been supported by the generous donations of students. I value this gift as a reflection of my relationship with my students over a period of 60 years of teaching. Some of the institute faculty and staff have helped my daughter with the gallery project. A very special thank you to Dr. Anand Putcha, who has played a major role working enthusiastically and wholeheartedly. I would like to thank Harish Naidu for his technical assistance, Pratap, who looks after the exhibits with thirst of interest, and Srinivas for all the secretarial help. I would like to acknowledge the help given by the gallery committee, which has taken an active interest in the development of the gallery. Thank you to all of you.
Thus today, with cancellation of flights. Dr. Saraswati, thank you. Then you have been giving guidance to all activities from the very beginning. Dr. Ramaswamy is a graduate PhD, is a young scientist providing support to research activities to mathematical sciences. Dr. Ramaswamy, Bishop of the University of Hyderabad, thank you for the continued support of the institution. I would like to acknowledge the support of my son, here, a computer scientist, my daughter-in-law, a speech pathologist, my grandsons, Amar and Rohit. I want to thank Bhargavi, my wife of 65 years, a psychologist, the woman behind my endeavors, and one of the main donors for small activities of this institute. My advice and continue support. Prof.CRRAO for his encouragement to cooperation in setting up and maintaining the gallery.
Because the gallery has been officially opened. Personally, on my behalf, I'd like to thank all the individuals who have helped me in various capacities over the last 2 years. The one person I really want to recognize is Dr. Anand Butcher. He has done a tremendous amount of work. I've been a real pest running to him every moment, every time I'm visiting India, and he did everything that I wanted and everything with a big smile on his face, and I really appreciate it. Dr. Ramanujan, thank you very much for accepting our invitation. You were probably the best person to open the gallery. You exemplify research, and as we have said, that's what the Gallery and Institute is about. My father tells me that it gets pretty cold in Cambridge, so I have something for you to keep you warm, and also my way of saying a heartfelt thank you.
Professor Ramakrishnan, Dr. Saraswat, my dear friend Dr. Ramaswamy, Dr. CRRRAO, and very distinguished delegates and students assembled here. Very good morning to all of you. And I thought I'd just participate and realize that I will do an address, but I can't say my address is Technology Bhavan, Delhi. So I'll be brief. I think I would treat this as a very special occasion in my life. In our Indian customs, we have special days, and in those days we go to special places. For scientists, National Mathematics Day is a very special day. Of course, this is really in tribute the wonderful contributions of Srinivasa Ramanujan to the field of mathematics. It was kind of difficult to get this declared as National Mathematics Day because last year was the first time it was done. And we thought in those days, we don't celebrate just Ramanujan, but we celebrate mathematics and bring young people and observe this as a mathematics day across the country. And therefore, I was looking for a location to go and participate in such a process. And when you have a special day, you look for a special location. And that special location, nothing can be better than CRRAO's process. And on this day, we also have the gallery open. And therefore, and let me say, for scientists, it's a day of privilege. So I've come here on such final sentiments. And on this occasion, very mightily pleased that Professor Ramakrishnan agreed to declare this open. I thank you. Thank you on behalf of all of you. Of course, when we observe some specific day of science, it is not to celebrate the past, it is to actually plan for the future. And that's exactly what this gallery and the institution engaged in doing. So let me say that I offer my best greetings to the institution and the movement that the institution set up. And Professor CRRAO is by himself an institution. And this is probably taller than all the buildings that anybody ever may build. And he symbolizes a passion for doing science of analytical nature. And let me hope that the younger people who are assembling here today will look at this as a day to get inspired by and live by the role models. And I wish all of you the very best, and I offer my best wishes. Thank you.
University of Hyderabad, please say a few words.
Venki Ramakrishnan, Saraswat Sahab, Dr. Ramaswamy, friends. On an occasion like this, one is, I mean, there are many, many nice things to recall. So let me start by first saying that the first news that I got of Venki Ramakrishnan's Nobel Prize was an SMS. And that, I think, at least for me, was a very unusual way of learning about something, because I got this SMS from an old friend, a mutual friend of ours, who said, you know, incredible, my schoolmate has won the Nobel Prize. And that was a friend who is based in Princeton, but that was really a very unusual way of learning about this. And I think this is a wonderful thing for all of us. In particular, at the University of Hyderabad, on whose campus we are, one of the lesser known, but an experiment that deserves to be known a little better is an undergraduate and graduate program which integrates all branches of the sciences. We have this integrated master's program in mathematics, chemistry, physics, and biology, where students are exposed in almost equal measure in the first few years to all these subjects. And I think one of the good advertisements for a program like this is somebody like Venki Ramakrishnan, who got a PhD in physics, does what most of us would think is biology, and got the Nobel Prize in chemistry. So I think it's really a very remarkable combination, and I hope that our experiment with this integrated program does give good research in the future, prizes apart. Prof.CRRAO's gallery and the whole institution, I think that Dr. Ramaswamy is right, this institution is bigger than the physical building over here. Prof.CRRRAO, an occasion which you will definitely not remember, but because Professor K.R. Pathsarathy is here, is something that I would like to acknowledge here. My first position in India when I came back from postdoc was at the Indian Statistical Institute for a very, very brief while. Professor Pathsarathy was responsible in large part for it. But one of the occasions that occurred during the days I was there was your 60th birthday celebrations. And at the conference that was held in the ISI on your 60th birthday, on the occasion of your 60th birthday, Professor K.R.P. asked me to give a talk on some of the work I was then doing, which was on chaos theory. And I gave a talk during that. And what is incredible for me to remember is that I was just starting my career when you formally retired from the ISI, and you've been going ever since, and indefatigable. I think it's a remarkable tribute to your resilience, to your long scientific life and your persistence. I think that there's very, very few examples of people who have worked so long and so well and have laid such a foundation for research in India. At the University of Hyderabad, we're very proud that this institution is on our grounds. We are very happy that you come here and spend time and you inspire people, and now we have the gallery which will continue to form a focus of at least some of the attention when people come to this institute. So on this day, congratulations all around. It's Mathematics Day, and since one should say something about Ramanujan also, the date today is 22 December 2013. So if you take the integer, and this is for our students out there, 2212212013, well, check it out, it is actually a prime. So it's a prime year, it's a prime day. It's a prime day for all of us to celebrate mathematics. And when there are students, one is tempted, students, professors, one is tempted to give homework problems. Right? So the homework problem is, when will Mathematics Day be another prime day? Okay, clearly not next year, but okay, thank you.
Thank you. As you heard, I'm actually a working lab scientist with a very small group, and I'm not really used to speaking on these general public occasions. But I found myself suddenly thrust into the limelight about 3 years ago, or almost 4 years ago now. And so I'd like to just speak frankly. And as you know, I have no ambitions beyond publishing my next paper. And so that also means I can afford to be completely honest with you, and I don't need to worry about what sort of angle it might have or things like that. Now, when I was growing up in India, I left India at a very early age. I left at the age of 19. But when I was growing up in India, I already knew that one of the institutes in India that was comparable to really good institutes in the West was the Indian Statistical Institute. But I didn't know anything more about it than that. Now, shortly after I got the Nobel Prize, I went to give a talk at MIT, which had been arranged many months before, so it had nothing to do with the prize. And I found myself, and by that time I'd been inundated with emails from India. I know some of you may know that I complained about that, and that made the front pages, and I got even more emails from Indians who were furious at me for, they thought I was arrogant, etc. And so I was in an elevator in my hotel outside MIT, and I saw an Indian gentleman, and he seemed to recognize me, and I immediately thought, oh no, I have to deal with another stranger who wants to sort of talk to me and take up my time. And actually, he said, look, I just want to have a discussion with you about, science in India, etc. I'm well known in my field too, he said. I said, oh, okay. And then he said, my name is Bharathan, and I got the Abel Prize for mathematics. And of course, I knew that the Abel Prize was something like the Nobel Prize for mathematics. And I was a little bit embarrassed that I was a bit, shall we say, less than friendly initially. So then we had a nice chat. And then as soon as I went back to my room, I looked him up, to find out what exactly he had done. And then one of the things I found out was that he was a student of Professor Rao. And then I looked up Professor Rao, and I found that he had had an amazing career. He had studied here, then went to Cambridge, and discovered fundamental theorems. He was one of the world's leading statisticians. So although I normally never say yes to things which are not directly science related, such as the opening of the gallery. In this particular case, I just felt that out of respect for someone who had contributed so much to India and so much to the field of statistics, that I should honor him by coming here and celebrating the opening today. And so, on that note, one has to distinguish between physical tokens of honor, such as a building or even a road or a library. 1,000 years from now, there is no doubt in my mind this building is not going to exist, because very few buildings that are 1,000 years old exist, and certainly not academic institutions. So really, what this library or the gallery is also probably not going to exist 1,000 years from now. But what will exist are Professor Rao's ideas. His theorems are essentially going to exist forever. And so what we should concentrate on what people have done, not so much about, physical attributes of the person. And one of the things that disappoints me about the Indian media and even people that I meet in India is very, very few of them actually want to know what is the work that I do, okay? They all want to know what does it feel like to win the Nobel Prize, or what is it, how do you win a Nobel Prize, things like that. Those are irrelevant questions, okay? When I came to Hyderabad in 2007, I had already done the work for which I would be awarded the prize. Okay? Nobody cared outside the academics who were really interested in my work, namely the people at CCMB and CBFD where I visited. And that's how it should be, okay? We should not have, this sort of celebrity thing, but rather we should celebrate science and discoveries. That's one of the things I'd like to say. Now, we also heard that India was number 9 in basic science in output, and I forget whether it was number 60 in applications. I don't know about the applications, but I can assure you, India is nowhere near the top 10. It's not even in the top 20, I would say, in basic science, because you cannot count basic science simply by the number of papers, okay? India may produce a large number of papers. China was considered number 2 in that same thing. Then, you don't see if China were number 2, you would see the world's young people all trying to go to China to do postdocs and things. They do not. They go to Germany, they go to, they go to the US, of course. They go to England, they go to Germany, they go to Europe. You have to distinguish between, the quality of science and simple output in terms of papers. And so that leads me to what people can do to improve Indian science. So the first thing is, in order to do cutting-edge science, you cannot be imitated. In other words, you cannot take a discovery that's been published somewhere and then do the next little incremental advance, okay? If you do that, you will publish a paper, you might get your grand review, but you're not going to really advance knowledge. You're not going to make those big leaps in knowledge where you're changing the field. I mean, Prof.CRRAO was able to change the field by fundamental theorems as did his student, but many people might just do a sort of incremental thing. Now, one of the ways that of avoiding incremental advances is to try and focus on things that are ignored in the West. Okay, so India has many very interesting problems which are unique to India. They're not neglected because they're not interesting, but they're neglected because they're not problems that particularly concern the West. And many of these problems can lead to fundamental advances in science as well as improve, develop solutions to many of India's problems. So, for example, one of the problems is species loss, both in plants and animals. Loss of plant species could be a major problem. There's deforestation, there's salination of soil. There are all kinds of problems that are often specific to India, to which Indian science can contribute. Now, how could people who are working on statistics contribute to that? I'm certainly not a statistician, but even I, as an outsider, can see that we're now able to generate large quantities of data. We can collect data, we can computerize it, and huge amounts of data. Genomics alone is producing huge amounts of data. Indian genomics in particular can generate large amounts of data about Indian diseases, Indian crops, Indian species, the genetic diversity within India, which is, I'm told, is second only to Africa in terms of its genome diversity of humans in India. So all of this is going to take a lot of work. It's going to take perhaps new ideas in statistics, perhaps more efficient algorithms. It's simply going to take a huge amount of work. So that's one way in which people might be able to make unique contributions that are not just incremental advances of things done elsewhere. This idea works, this idea does not work. Tremendous use of applied statistics apart from pure statistics. So statistics also has the ability to distinguish between facts and biases and superstition. And in that way, it can also create a more rational society. And rational societies are the basis for advancing. Finally, I want to say that we've all heard about the NSA and how it's been intrusive and snooping on other governments. It's very important that countries like India do not let information in India, communications within India, be snooped on by the US. And I speak as a US citizen, okay? And I think what the US does, which is snoop globally, is good for the US, but it's not necessarily good for the countries that are being snooped on. In fact, in almost all cases, it's bad for the countries being snooped on. To do it with algorithms, we were talking about India's interest to develop new algorithms, efficient algorithms that can be used in India that are not crackable or breachable by other countries. That's essential because more and more of our information, more and more of our knowledge is computer-based. And so cybersecurity is a huge threat. It's a threat to commerce, and eventually it will also be a threat to health, because a lot of healthcare will involve computers. So that's all I want to say. Thank you very much. It's my honor to be here, and I don't think it's a well-deserved honor. As I said, I'm simply a lab working scientist, but I was happy to come and participate. Thank you.
Again, on any issues, any discussions, the floor is open. Please go ahead.
My question is, through the years, funding has been a big problem to innovative thinkers like me. For 30 years, I've worked with nothing. And I came back to India to do work here, with no support from any university, from any faculty. They are not interested. When he came to Chennai, I think it was 2 years ago at Madras University, you had a green t-shirt on, and you were on stage. the faculty of Madras University were all in the front row, and I got a seat in the balcony, and we sat together in the same room. And I feel that what you said today is so true, that in India there's no respect for new work, there's respect for incremental knowledge, and this has to change. So I want to come back to this very fundamental question which I need you to address. Why is it that the government of India does not put in new stuff? I'm asking this question to enlighten everyone.
To reach the secretary. This is not right.
I really can't answer your question because I don't live in India and I'm not involved in science administration here. And he was able to publish his papers, okay? So they could see his papers and they could see, yes, this is not something that anyone would have thought of, but it makes sense. So if you have new physics equations, first of all, I haven't done physics since 1976, because I've not been a physicist for almost 4 decades. And so there's no point in showing you physics equations because I wouldn't know what they meant, okay? But you have to go to people who are related to the field that you're developing your theories on and ask whether they accept them or not. And if they don't accept them, you have to ask yourself, am I on the wrong track? Do they actually mean something, or am I fooling myself? Now, one of the problems if you work in isolation is you can also fool yourself, okay, into thinking you're doing something great and innovative. Not everyone is a Ramanujan. Ramanujan was a complete exception. For every Ramanujan, there are thousands of people who develop things which are actually don't amount to anything, okay? So, and that's why we know Ramanujan, and it was a lucky coincidence that someone like Hardy actually saw his, his letter and realized maybe there's something there. 2 other people dismissed him as a crank, as you know. Hardy was the 3rd person that Ramanujan wrote to. So it requires some self-criticism as well. And the only way you can develop is to contact people close to the area where you're working and ask, am I on the right track? Is this actually among something new? Or is this, am I just sort of playing games with equations? That's what I would say.
Thank you.
Last year.
People after 2009 ask me questions about all sorts of fields as though I've suddenly become some wise sage. Okay? I don't even know. There are questions on the ribosome that I have difficulty, understanding or talking about because, they're slightly outside my current focus on the ribosome. It's not for me to tell you. You're the person doing work. It's not for me to tell you how to be innovative in sustainable development. All I can say is good luck. It's a very important area.
To the presentation scheme. Release of the gallery by the chief guest. Ramakrishna.
I'm going to sing this in a Carnatic style. I'm sitting at the Sunwork station. Got a signal for elimination. If I can, we will all clap hand. Rick and Grant will do handstands, and every noise is neatly canned, 'cause it's been sent out of bone. CRRRAO bone, I wish I knew CRRRAO bone. Bone, where my brain is aching bone, where my stats are failing bone, where my signals waiting noiselessly for me. This signal is an endless stream of poison noise and grinding teeth, and the spike looks the same to me. Can it be noise, or is it speech? And every time I think I see it down so that it is spike free. CRRRAO bone, I wish I knew CRRRAO bone. Bone, where my brain is aching. Bone, where my stats are failing. Bone, where my signals waiting noiselessly for me. Tonight I will run my scripts again. I will play the tape until it ends. But all my runs come back to me with two ways veracity, like keyboard with senility. I need someone to remind me. CRRRAO bone, I wish I knew CRRRAO bone. Bone, where my brain is aching. Bone, where my steps are failing. Bone, where my signals waiting noiselessly for me.
Dear President Dr. Vikram Saraswat, our respected Guru, Professor C.R.RAO, family, Madam Margavida, and our Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. V. Ramakrishna, and our guests of honor, Dr. T. Ramaswamy, Dr. Ramakrishna, our Director, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and the young children who are here. It's my privilege and an honor to propose a vote of thanks at this inaugural function of the CRRAO Gallery in honor of the legendary statistician in the world of statistics and world knowledge, Dr. C.R.RAO, inaugurated by the distinguished scientist Dr. V. Ramakrishnan on this particular very important day, the birthday of Srinivasa Ramanujan, and also National Mathematics Day. I thank Dr. Rao and Mrs. Rao for agreeing to add a precious jewel, namely the CRRAO Gallery, in the crown of the Advanced Institute of Mathematics, Statistics and Computer Science, which was established to do heartbreaking research in these trinity of areas: mathematics, statistics and computer science, and applications to the problems of the society. This gallery will be a source of inspiration and role model to all of us for the growth and development of further statistical methodologies for the benefit of the society to handle new data which arises out of several new innovations, new creations, and so on. I would like to thank our Honorable Chief Guest for the kind advice he has given us. In fact, I was at Indian Statistical Institute for 40 years. I'm a direct student of Prof.CRRAO, who single-handedly, with a group of dedicated researchers, all doing research in the fundamental areas, at the same time having interaction with the problems of the society, solutions and so on. That's why the research developed under his guidance at the Research Training School of the Indian Statistical Institute, put the Indian Statistical Institute and India at the center of the world of statistics and world of knowledge at that time. What we need now, as per the suggestions and advice of our Honorable Chief Guest, is we should develop new methodologies to handle the amount of new big data we are having now because of the genomic, because of the epidemic, and because of the social transformations being done. Therefore, there should be a place like this institute which will cater to the research in those, developing those new methodologies. And we are very happy that Prof.CRRAO is here, also with us every year for several months to guide us in this. So this will be an opportunity, as mentioned by our Chief Guest, to look at the new statistical methodologies needed for genome analysis and many other such things for the benefit of the society. I thank you, sir, for your wonderful advice to us. I thank Dr. T. Ramaswamy, who argued with the government at that time, because the institute was just established as a society, then perhaps big grants cannot be given to a society. He argued that Prof.CRRAO is an institution, and he is under the condition that he is with the for 3-4 months a year. We should treat it as a big institution and should give us the grants to this institute. That's how we got the first rupee and first, in fact, big grant for this institute from the Department of Science. Thank you, sir, for the kind advice you gave us today. And in fact, we are very fortunate that the firm grounds for the development and growth of this institute has been here in the campus of the University of Hyderabad, which is ranked as the first university in India. And thank Dr. Ramaswamy for giving problems to the young ones also, including me, to see which one is the next prime number in that one. So I thank Dr. Ramaswamy. I thank our president, who was responsible from the beginning almost for the growth and development of this. And in fact, I would like to say that the Honorable Prime Minister has given money for building this campus and so on, and big other projects from NTRO, that first and many we have given. We would like to have the cyber security related things also, and genome data, big data, all these projects. But we have to strive to get them now, because in the beginning they gave us because Prof.CRRAO is with us. Now they will give us, perhaps only after we establish that we are doing excellent work. So all of us together should join hand in hand to promote this research applicable to the society. I would like to thank Dr. Gachibowli, our director, was with a very keen interest in bringing the new projects and new areas into. I thank our devotional song. Above all, I would like to say that the design and development of this beautiful gallery, which will be a a source of inspiration for all the youngsters and the elders to see how Professor C.R.RAO struggled to do research and bring India into the forefront of research. And similarly now, it has been inaugurated by an eminent scientist. I would like to mention that I heard Dr. Ramanujan saying that initially applied to several, I may be allowed to say this, several universities and so on. Perhaps he has not got admission in some of these things. But his determination, his will, his discipline has made him to work for his goal and then reach the highest order quality. So that is the spirit with which we have to work together for the growth and development of this country and the research. I thank Dr. Gachibowli once again for the wonderful jewel he has given to us for the benefit of all the youngsters also. I thank all the distinguished guests whom I cannot mention, whom I know personally but I cannot mention by name. So many are here who have helped us actively in the growth and development of this. And I like to thank our colleagues and other staff who has helped us making this grand event a grand success. Thank you very much. And of course, I would like to thank one person, especially apart from the invitation of Professor C.R.RAO, Dr. Ramanujan kindly agreed, the CCM director, Dr. Mohan Rao, who helped us to host him there and bring him here and participate in this. Thank you very much.
गणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्तर गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नाम